Okay, argumentation students, I wanted to do a quick video on the Toulmin's model just so that you have it in your notes. I feel pretty confident that most of you know the first three sections of the Toulmin's model, the triad, but we'll go ahead and dive into this. So first of all, the first section that I want to make sure you have in your notes is the grounds. And we've gone over this in class quite a bit, but the grounds can also be called the data or the proof. This is the evidence or reasoning to establish the foundation of your claim. The grounds lead to the claim. So the claim is the conclusion or the end goal that we're trying to establish by our argument. Looking at the triad, we have to include the warrant. The warrant can be stated or it can be implied. Sometimes people just get the connection, other times you have to point it out. But the warrant is the justification of how somebody gets from the grounds to the claim. So again, it's the justification of moving from this information, this data, to this particular goal. The next thing, these are now the new elements that you don't know, is the backing. Sometimes the warrant, or the grounds for that matter, may need some additional support. So some extra examples of when that might have occurred. So right now we have the triad up at the top, the grounds leading to the claim, and the warrant connecting them. The backing, as I said, is extra examples to substantiate either your grounds or your warrant. Then we get to the rebuttal. No matter what claim you make, there's always going to be instances when the claim might not be true. So you can think about what are the opposing views of your claim. You know, we could do this thing, but technically there are other things we could have done as well. Sometimes if you know what those are, you can actually state them and counteract them as part of your original speech or your debate. So you might say, this is what I think we should do. That's my claim. Here's my grounds why. Now there's a couple of other things we could have done, but they're not as strong as my particular claim. Then we have something called a qualifier. One of the biggest mistakes that we often make when we get into a debate is wanting to have an all or nothing kind of win. And sometimes that claim that is all or nothing is a little too strong. And so people might actually lose the debate because there was no wiggle room in there. So in other words, instead of saying, in my example here, the college will raise tuition, if we soften it a little bit by saying the college will probably resort to a tuition increase, it kind of softens a little bit, like that there's other possibilities, but this one's the most likely. So a qualifier softens your claim so that it's not as strong, but yet still makes the audience go, that seems like the stronger of the claims possible. So I want to take a look at the full Toulmin's model. First, we begin with grounds. That's the data and the support that you have that cause you to then make a claim. The warrant is the justification between the grounds and the claim. And sometimes we need additional support to the data or to the warrant to prove that this has happened before or give examples of when it has happened before, and that's called backing. Then we might want to take a look at that claim and look at the point of view from the opposing side. And what are some of the rebuttals? Countering those ahead of time is probably a really good idea so that you kind of stop your opposition before they get started. And then lastly, the idea of a qualifier, softening the claim so it's not so absolute, because there's always exceptions to the rule. This is basically the Toulmin's model. If you learn this model, it's really going to help you throughout the semester. Make sure for the quiz, and for that matter the rest of the semester, you know all of these elements in the Toulmin's model and you know how to define them.